Clark County Today is presented by Connell Real Estate. Hire an agent, get a team. Learn more by visiting connellrealestate.com.
Hey everyone, Chris Brown here with your Thursday update from ClarkCountyToday.com. The county topped 1,600 confirmed COVID-19 cases today with 28 new positive tests, but no new fatalities. That brings our total to 1,605 cases and 37 deaths since the outbreak began. Hospitalizations remain fairly steady with 21 confirmed cases and 10 suspected in Clark County hospitals, making up just under 5% of total bed space. Now, Clark County's Public Health Officer Dr. Alan Melnick spent a good amount of time during his report at Wednesday's Board of Public Health meeting going over questions raised by the community about the COVID-19 pandemic, from a decision in March to pass along guidance to long-term care facilities not to deny new patients even with pending COVID tests in order to save hospital space, to how the mortality rate of this virus compares with the common flu, and whether a rise in testing can account for the increase in cases. Melnick made an effort to address community questions and address concerns, and we've compiled some of those questions and the health department's responses to them in a longer piece, so be sure to check out the full story at ClarkCountyToday.com. Well, Battleground is inviting people who live there to help them shape the city for future generations. You can do so by giving your feedback on 3 proposed land use master plan alternatives on the city's Story Map open house online. This is the second phase in the city's revisioning plan, with the first being the Battleground Roadmap project completed in 2018, during which over 2,000 residents shared their goals and desires for the city's future. The updated land use master plan will lay the groundwork for future development over the next 2 decades by helping to identify areas of growth, preservation, and economic development. The open house and comment period goes on through August 17th. There will also be an online virtual meeting held Monday, August 10th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. For more on how to participate, read our full story at ClarkCountyToday.com. Well, in case you missed it, a heads up for commuters planning to take I-5 in Vancouver Friday night. WashDOT is closing both directions of the interstate between SR 500 and the I-5-205 split from 11 p.m. until 6 on Saturday morning. The closure will allow them to install an overhead sign bridge as part of an active traffic management upgrade for the southbound lanes from Northeast 78th and Hazeldale to the interstate bridge. And that'll include new adaptive ramp meters, traffic cameras, messaging signs, and more. And all of that work is currently scheduled to wrap up ahead of the 11-day closure of the northbound interstate bridge span, which starts September 9th, during which crews will replace a massive trunnion that has developed a hairline crack. A quick heads up, Vancouver police asking for your help to identify 2 suspects involved in an assault and robbery that happened around 6:30 in the morning, July 1st. These men, seen here on surveillance camera footage, approached a 60-year-old walking in his neighborhood near the 1300 block of Northeast 145th Avenue. One of the suspects brandished a knife, demanding the victim hand over any valuables. The man attempted to run but was chased and knocked to the ground. He wasn't seriously injured, but the suspects did get away with several items of personal property. Suspects are both in their 20s, around 5'10", with thin builds. If you have any info, call the VPD tip line at 360-487-7399. Well, I've gotten mine. Do you have yours? Ballots for the August 4th primary and special election are in the mail and should actually be in your mailbox by now. If you haven't gotten one, the Clark County Elections Office says you should contact them to request a replacement as soon as possible. And of course, we have a story up at ClarkCountyToday.com with all the details on how to do that. The last day to submit new voter registrations and voter updates to existing registrations online or by mail is 5 p.m. next Monday. Now, you can still register and update existing voter registrations after July 27th, but you must do so in person by 8 on election night. And just a note, visitors to the elections office are required to wear a face covering and practice physical distancing inside. An online voter's guide and a sample ballot listing all candidates and ballot measures is available at the elections office website at clarkvotes.org. Well, reaction continues to pour in over changes to the high school sports schedule, this time from multi-sport athletes who will face overlapping seasons and a massive disruption to their training schedule. Here's Paul Valencia with more on the story.
Good evening. The WIAA's sports calendar to deal with the pandemic will mean shortened seasons and no gaps between seasons 2, 3, and 4. That will mean big changes for multi-sport athletes. I talked to Cody Wheeler of Hawkinson and Sammy Medeiros of Washougal. Both said they want to remain 3-sport athletes. They are going into their junior years of high school. Medeiros usually plays soccer, basketball, and tennis. Washougal girls basketball program, as you know, is used to playing deep into the playoffs. Well, this year, basketball will be first. If Washougal girls basketball makes it to the final week of competition in season 2, Medeiros will miss the first week of soccer practice. She said she'll adjust. Wheeler will have a bigger adjustment. Wrestling is now going to be before football. Wheeler prefers to wrestle at 182 pounds and play football at 200 pounds. That's not going to be able to happen. Also, if Wheeler makes it to the final week of competition, he will miss 2 weeks of football practice. He says he will just find a way to compete. Medeiros summed it up the best, though. All athletes will just have to deal with this strange year. And we hope by next year we're back to a traditional fall, winter, spring sports schedule.
All right, thanks so much, Paul. Hey, before we wrap up, if you're a bargain hunter, we've got some good news for you. The Salmon Creek Goodwill store is finally back open. The county's 6 other Goodwill locations opened in early June, but the Salmon Creek location was still undergoing renovations at the time. With all 7 locations back open, Goodwill says 240 people in Clark County are back on the payroll. And job placement services are happening again, albeit in a virtual format. Hours have been slightly reduced, and there are mask requirements and restrictions for donations, so be sure to check out our story at clarkcountytoday.com before you head out. And there's your check of the stories we're following for you on this Thursday at clarkcountytoday.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to see when stories are posted and be part of the conversation. You can also reach us with story ideas and feedback via email. news@clarkcountytoday.com is the address. For all of us, I'm Chris Brown. Appreciate you watching. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.